Okay, so today we're looking at a new game, okay, called Suzerain. Oh, hello there, Avery. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of a lot of news on on elections recently. So I thought it's a good time to take a look at Suzerain. Okay, well, what kind of game is Suzerain? Well, basically you're gonna play as a politician, okay, who's having a shot at the presidency, okay, and the thing is that the country is a very, how should I say this? It's a very like South America type where they a lot of like so very communistic type, okay, but and also in a form of dictatorship in some sense, okay. So I think it's a bit hard to understand, but I think it's better if we take a look and we can see how it goes. Okay, one proposition. Yeah, so from what I see is that in America, like that the Democrats expected to lose a lot, but it turns out that they somehow managed to to reduce their losses. Well, it's good to know that that there aren't those people who deny election that got through, but at the very least, even if they did get a majority, but it's a small majority. And it also reminds me of like what happened last week, if I'm not mistaken. Last week was like 2 weeks ago, where what Lula da Silva managed to defeat Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil. Okay, you can see like a bit with Brazil or Cuban type of country where the story is set in. Okay, so it's a very decision heavy. Okay, and for this game, and whatever you made, whatever choices you made early on, okay, or the one that you think it might be very inconsequential, it might be later on. Okay, it might come and bite you. So let's start. Yeah, the thing is that you can't manually save this game. It just auto save. You are enslavement and my freedom, and you are my flesh burning like a raw summer night. You are my country. Nazim Hickman Ryan. You can, when you go through this, you can feel like it's a fledgling democracy. 1908, Kingdom of Sordland. You open your eyes to this world. You came from a wealthy family, a middle-income family, or impoverished family in there. Yeah, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, like in Congress, like they expect the senators to be like maybe plus 4 or 5 seats, and like now they're not very sure. Like they're still gonna win, but maybe 1 or 2. But the House is supposed to be totally flipped. But it turns out, rather than being flipped, they're just gonna barely eke it out. Okay, so I actually played this game before, like when it first came out. And when it first came out, I was just like trying to be the most fight for justice. But when I did that, well, I couldn't achieve much. Okay, like you need to make compromise if you ever wanna like maintain power. But it's the thing is that whether you spend all your power becoming the good politician, or like you maintain some power but you make some compromise, and you stay in there for the long run, where you, rather than one shot make huge changes, but slowly you change the country for the better under your rule. So that's about it. Poor family. Okay, so poor family, it does that. Okay, but the thing is, there's going to come to a point where you're gonna need the money. So I would say like either middle income or impoverished family. Okay, but anyhow, we can go for impoverished family. Okay, we're gonna have a couple of choices of this that revolves around that first choice. Okay, because you're gonna have your personal wealth as well. Your parents name you Anton. As the only child of a farmer, you spent your childhood among wheat fields. Life was not easy. You were too poor to afford a good education. The Rayne family was caring regardless of the economy dire situation. Your parents always did their best to try to support you. The years passed. During a history class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You heard a loud commotion outside. As everyone tried to figure out what was going on, the principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more. The Republic of Sordland was born. Okay, so this is when you're young, like okay, 15. You did not fully understand. You were happy that you had the day off. You were somewhat worried. I think like during this time was on a monarchy, and like a coup happened. So it is a revolution after all. After graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. Even though your family was poor, the public education system made it possible to go to university. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. You choose law at Halsord, Halsord State University, economy at Latchhaven Business School, history at Dare University of Culture. Like this one, I don't remember it affect much of the choice, but maybe since I don't think that this is like too. I don't think this is too specific, but like because maybe I might have messed this up. Like I say, I only played it once. Law, economic, history. Law to make it better, economics to make the people prosper, history. I'm leaning more on the law side. I'm leaning more on the law side, making more laws to help the people. During the first year you attended, no, it's set. Okay, the kingdom of Sordland. During the first year, you attended a lecture with David Whiskey. He was a well-known diplomat from the foreign ministry and the son of the president. After observing the hall in silence, he explained how the Supreme Court is obstructing justice in Sordland. He stated that laws should be applied fairly and that even the members of Supreme Court are subject to the same laws. Here, like during my run when I first played this game, okay, back when it first released, the Supreme Court is a real pain in the ass because like I don't want to rule too much. Okay, just to keep that in mind. Okay. Law and economics. You question what you were being taught. You were concerned about passing tests. You question what you were being taught. Soldiers entered campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as the uniformed man created a social cordon and started arresting the teachers. A group of students started gathering in protest. Along with your best friend Peter Vector, you decided to you're gonna survive. You're gonna survive, okay? So might as well protest with the students. That way, like, you know the suffering. One of the officers made a loud announcement that echoed through the campus. General Suzerain declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You join the students that slowly march towards the large group of soldiers. Suddenly, the soldiers charge. This one we can't do anything about it. This is basically the prologue. Okay, look at this is not the full game. The full game is that when you're gonna have your family and everything. A student fell and was trampled as everybody started running away. You held your ground. The soldiers beat you relentlessly. It was a gloomy year. Let me see. 19 years old? Yeah, 19 years old. Currently. Group of 27. The arrested teacher were replaced by those that promoted conformism to the state. Holsworth turned a blind eye to the things that were happening. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join human rights group, student council, political debate group. If I became the student council, it seems a bit of too conformist. I think like a human rights group. Oh yeah, there's also like minorities in this game. And they also play, I won't say play a huge factor, but they are like a wild card of some sort. The group heavily protested against the deteriorating human rights situation in Sordland. You contributed in thorough discussion on how to protect and expand freedom. In one of the meetings, Peter introduced you to one of his friends, Monica, who was a volunteer for the Socialist League of Women. You were immediately attracted to her intelligence, her beauty, her diligence. I think this one is her intelligence. Like I say, the reason why like I choose to be a human rights group, because like there's, I found out there's a couple of provinces in Sordland, and one of it is mainly by populated by a minority group, and they are really no, we can't regain in this game, because we're gonna have like it. They are still a very conservative nation in the story setting, so I feel like they take it into consideration, because I don't think like this country, who is a fledgling democracy, I don't think they're gonna take too happily towards that. I don't remember whether like homosexuality is gonna be a topic, okay, in one of the agendas coming up. So immediately attached to her intelligence. The politically charged environment led you to join the Red Youth, the Socialists. This one, no, I'm not gonna join this. Join the Young Swords, the Nationalists. I'll rather join the Red Youth, the Socialists. Like, I feel like Socialists get a lot of like negative connotation, okay, and as well as coming. I'm not saying that like the idea itself is not bad, but the thing is that who gets the power is the one that corrupted it and give it a bad name. So like the idea of, well, I start with socialism, like it's basically like the people who, at the micro level, like in a company, no, because like we had he's the main character, he's even though we can make the decision for him, okay, he's a very loving father, okay. Socialist is like basically, if it's a company, okay, if like if the company goes good, okay, like the people who work in the company, the staff, should be given like some sort of bonus. That's the main idea of it. But if it's a communism, so like everybody gets a fair share, regardless of your managerial position, everybody's gonna get paid the same. So I do feel like socialist is a much more reasonable. It strikes a balance between individuality and the group. The radio delayed that the Communist General Reichert surrounded Suzerain and his troops, demanding their surrender. They refused and heavy fighting broke out across the country. You just couldn't believe it. The army was fighting amongst themselves. Sordland plunged into chaos. Reichert's sudden attack caused more instability in the country, but compared to the fascist Suzerain, he was a real socialist. This convinced you to participate in a support match. You were chanting, "Freedom, equality, solidarity. Workers of the world, unite. Bring down the fascists." Like this one here, you can see this like a pyramid. Like your most like the most direct thing that you want to do is, of course, you want to bring down the fascists. And then like the second thing is that it is like to help all the workers. But the bigger picture, if you look at the bigger picture, like you want everybody to have freedom, equality, and solidarity. And that's what I feel is best, represent me. You were marching under the protection of Reichert's soldier. The students opposing the coup gathered a few hundred meters in front of you. Many nationalists were among them. You knew something was going to happen. State. There were massive clash between the two sides. Soldiers began to beat the students. Tanks started rolling forward. In this chaotic moment, you saw a young girl about to get run over by a tank. You ran to save her. There's no choice. But you couldn't reach her in time. You never forgot her face. The Civil War. Sorry, Civil War right now. The clashes escalated to a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, and love grew between the two of you. However, it was a difficult time for love. The chaos must end. The Republic of Sordland. The charismatic Colonel Tarquin Sol orchestrated a sudden attack and brought an end to the war. He wrote a new constitution and restored stability. People saw him as a savior. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate. And in the first election ever, well, he did bring peace. But the thing is that we don't know what kind of constitution. But at the very least, let's give him a chance. Let's vote for him. USP won the election by a large majority. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica and noticed her interest to marry. However, a letter arrived from the military calling you to fulfill your compulsory service. It was time to serve your national duty. Conscription. Bergia region. A devastating civil war broke out in the neighboring country, Westland. The distinguished Major Losov Lancia ordered you to lead your squad on a border patrol mission. It was a very cold winter night when you began marching out of Gumran outpost. You could see your breath. This is where the main minority group is going to be about. After several hours of marching through the snowy hills, distant noises were heard. Visibility was too low to confirm the source. The squad crawled in formation and found a spot to observe. A group of refugees has made it beyond the border fence. You escorted them back, let them slip through. We're gonna get punished, but why not? it is, it is freezing after all. If we escorted them back, maybe they're gonna, they're not gonna make it. So let's let them sleep through. After the patrol, Major Lancia. So it's like Korea or Norway where militaries. Yeah, you can also like say even Russia, even Singapore is also the same. Okay, Singapore, you have to go through a year or two of national service to prepare in case of anything happen. Like if I'm not mistaken, Singapore have a very good, air force. If I'm not mistaken. After the patrol, Major Lancia arrived with anger and immediately relieved you of your command, calling you a disappointment. One of your squad members had reported your actions. After several months of scrubbing the floors as a punishment, your duties ended and you went back to civilian life. I think that if I played the how should I say this? The one who obeyed the law, the conformist, okay, and escorted them back, I might have started off better, but on the other side. You and Monica decided to share your lives together. After receiving the blessing of her parents, a ceremony was held in Sordland. During the same year, you worked hard to secure a high-paying job at the governing United Sordland Party. It was much more difficult to start your career on a good foot because of the refugee incident, but you still managed. See, this is what I said. Okay, this is one of the most fastest consequence of your action. Working for the ruling party was the easiest path to power. The financial compensation was too great to pass up. It was the best opportunity to change the country for the better. Well, without a doubt, I choose number 3. You became the legal assistant to one of the more experienced members of assembly. You worked long and hard, staying late at work and going through hundreds of pages of legal documents. You were climbing the ladder. Seoul strengthened the republic by removing the institution and symbols of the former kingdom from society. Things were also looking up for the country as the massive economy boom continued, and people were the happiest they had ever been in a decade. Election time came, and it was decided. President Takwin Seoul was elected once more. The ongoing legal battle between Justice Ministry and the Supreme Court put you under a lot of stress. But your significant contribution to the legal case triggered an invitation to meet President Takwin Seoul himself, who offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of the assembly. You accepted with doubts. As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the influential inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought Peter as your right-hand man. The birth of your son, Frank, provided a brief moment of joy and relief. You sacrificed work to spend time with your family. Sacrificed family to improve position in the party. If I'm not wrong, we are with Takwin Seoul. I'm not a big fan of Takwin Seoul because you're gonna find out later. Okay, so rather than that, I think I'll just sacrifice my work to spend time with your family. During your absence, Peter found trustworthy contacts and strengthened your position in the party. Nice job, Peter. At the same time, President Seoul increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife within the party. Facts began to show. President Seoul barely secured a majority in the election against the opposition leader. Over the past year, many people were growing discontent with corruption and the worsening of quality of life. Meanwhile, calls for a united Sordland party Congress became louder as a leadership struggle started to brew. You watched from the sideline. kept supporting the president, joined the internal opposition. Now, I don't feel like supporting the president, okay? Whether I join the internal opposition or I watch from the sideline. Like, the thing is, I don't really wanna be in this party, because like this party is under President Sol's under his rule. So like even if you raise up the rank in the party, you are probably gonna at the end be under his shadow. So it's either 1 or 3. I think I joined the internal opposition, like to show that I still care about the party, but I don't agree with the leadership. I think that's the best. And then later we leave. You gave your support to Ewald Alfonso, a reformist and talented business magnate who was the main contender for party leadership. Meanwhile, in a desperate effort to secure votes before the Congress, President Sol was meeting party members one by one, but he didn't approach you. Okay, like remember just now, he came to us like, hey, I'm gonna put you in a position of power, but now he didn't approach you. So we say, yeah, I don't trust him. But take a look at here. Take a look. Sol's second election win, third election win, fourth election, fifth election win. The party congress was nothing short of impressive. The banners of United Sordland were decorating every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists, benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party leadership began. He voted Ewald Alfonso. The efforts bore fruit as the contentious leadership vote was won by Ewald Alfonso. So another like all my choices just now helped him win. Okay, like if I didn't join the internal struggle, he may not have won. During the Congress, Sol announced his retirement from politics. You knew the structure he had established was to stay. The country had become increasingly authoritarian. You were happy that Sol was finally leaving. Troubled by the departure, didn't care who was in charge. Since he is the sort of authoritarian, like take a look, he won 5 elections in a row. Maybe in the beginning he was really good, but afterward, like power corrupted him. So I would think that, the first choice is the best. A month later, your daughter was born. Monica named her Diana. She motivated you during a tumultuous period in the party. The general elections were approaching. The United Sordland Party was under the new leadership of Ewald Alfonso. You I think I should support him, because like if we don't support him, then maybe Sol will come back, or like his people will try to take it back. So like we finally beat the authoritarian, but if we leave it, they're gonna come back and take it. Join the party effort and campaign for him. During the general election, the main opposition leader was embroiled in a sex scandal with his secretary. He was replaced by the strong opposition figure Frank Richter, but the damage had been done. The extensive privatization program proposed by Ewald Alfonso secured an election victory for the United Sordland Party. Over the next years, you did your best in order to make Sordland a better place. Okay. Right, all that was necessary to climb up the ladder. Not really. Dedicate yourself to the party and success. I'll go with 1. Remember, the USP, this party that we're in right now, is that it's a very conservative, or like status quo kind of thing. So, like, don't get yourself too attached to it. Did your best to make it a better place. The presidency of Edward Alfonso saw many bold reforms, but was followed by a serious economic recession. The other party announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair system hampered all opposition's effort to win. You thought your party could not survive another crisis, but worried about the economic recession. Your reputation will be tarnished on Alfonso. Like, all of these are legit. All of these are legit, you know, thoughts. I think I better worry about the economic recession, because if that's the case, then like, how is it going to impact the normal people? Together with Peter, your presence in the USP grew and you became the new face of a new wing in the party. You effectively took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make a move had come. You blame Alfonso for the crisis on television. Bribed and extorted Alfonso's inner circle. Advised Alfonso to step down. But I'm not a jerk. Like, without a doubt, if I do this, like, it's very Machiavellian, where you'll do anything to gain power. And if I do that, I'll be not much different compared to, you know, Soul. So, like, might as well, hey, Alfonso, get down. Okay? Step down. He didn't take your advice seriously and started to reshuffle his cabinet, but most of his inner circle abandoned him. Your diplomatic attitude made the party vote you in as the leader. Following this, you announced that you would be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. It was your turn. Oh, I was in the USP? After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to enact democratic reform. This is very important, okay? Just now. The people are tired of empty promises. We need fundamental change in our institution and government. A solid and transparent democracy awaits us. Brothers and sisters, a new constitution and a new age is upon us. The broadcast ended. On election day, millions went to cast out their votes. It was time to face the truth. Okay, prologue over. Now, chapter 1. President Rayne. Ooh. This is just too, like... this is so obviously a wig. Oh my god. Hitler. Gentleman. Gentleman's hat. Nope. Ronelli. I don't think hats are nice. That one is for the second one. Like, basically, after the prologue, most likely you will be you're gonna be the president, but if I'm wrong, you can also feel that comrade, a monarchist, chief strategist, classy, idealist, clean shaven, too baby faced, nope, intellectual, sword gentleman. Right now we are ruling, so like we don't need more. We are not gonna focus on re-election. Now is the governing part. Swordist, strategist, theorist. Oh, these are the fake. Oh, master. Markian. How are you gonna manage this, man? Revolutionary. Renan. Default. I think because his stash is a bit thick, so like it doesn't remind you of Hitler attire. Malinist maroon suit. Sordland first. Tuxedo. Nah. Brand. White suit. Yeah, the color scheme is nice, but it feels kind of weird. Default. Maroon suit looks good. Accessory. Oh my god, I don't think I should wear glasses. Okay, cigar is a bit too asshole. Same with the pipe. Okay, none. Notice my other message about the attack. How embarrassing. Oh wait. I just noticed something. Give me a second. My guy freeze. Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. Tan, gold, green, maroon. I think default is just nice. Yeah, the office. Looks nice. Don't. You will not be able to change how President Rayne look from this point forward. Are you sure? Yeah. Like the point, as long as it's not that bad, I'm fine with leaving it as default. As Anton Rayne, you have made promises to the people of Sordland in order to gain their vote. They must be considered very carefully. This is very important, okay? Economy. Sordland's economy had been based on planned doctrine since its formation until the President Ewald Alfonso enacted free market reforms. Now, the country finds itself in between two different economic systems. Promote free market, promote planned economy. Now, both sides work is very good. Like free market, you're gonna be like more you're gonna have more leeway with the market, let the market decide. But I do feel like a balance between two is very important. Okay? And if you try to stray away too far, if you try to stay away for too far, then you're gonna receive a backlash. Now the different, like for me, the free market is like basically let the bankers, basically the financial people rule over it. Okay, but if you go for a planned economy, it's like, for example, like, okay, it's like, for example, you're gonna decide, hey, we need more hospitals, we need more schools. Okay, in that case, I think I should go for planned economy and just not to stray too far from it, because like there are going to be cases where the government can't support everything. Okay, so if I let it free market, if I let it go free market, then basically they're gonna have too much trouble and easily take me down. So planned economy with like maybe 20-30% free market. Diplomacy. The intensifying global rivalry between Arcasia in the west and Communist United Cortana in the east is opening a new diplomatic possibility. Sordland could take steps to align itself closer to one. Here, I think I'll go for neither. Like, don't always think that the capital is good and communist is bad, because you're gonna find out in a bit, not long after this. In recent years, British, Wexac, and Agnolian immigrants flocked to Sordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by Ewald Alfonso. As a result, tensions between Swords and immigrants have been increasing. Keep immigration relaxed. Like, here is whether you're gonna have you're gonna gain the support of the Swords, or you're gonna gain like support from the immigrants and also those who sympathize with them. Like, they are also refugees in a sense. Some of them. Okay. Election promises. We have also promised to focus on certain extensive subjects within our first term. The people expect us to solve the negative solution with this topic while providing an overall improvement to the related policies. Health. Since the 1940s, the difference of service quality between urban and rural hospitals has been getting increasingly worse, and the average life expectancy has dropped significantly. Yeah, this is why I chose promote planned economy. Like, if you promote free market, then like you're not gonna have much impact here. Education. Lack of schools, teacher, and even classroom equipment in certain areas causes massive gaps in previous robust education system. Law enforcement. Increased crime is pushing law enforcement to their limits, while judges at courts deal with a huge expanding backlog of legal cases. Military. Protects the country from hostile threats, and while some see it as a massive financial burden, others argue it's a critical deterrent. For me, I feel like education is the fundamental of everything. Like, if you have good education, okay, like it will take time, at least 10 to 15 years. But to do that, you need to be in power for a long time. So like, let's try and go as far as we can, okay? Like, if we go for education, you need to wait for it to, for the students to grow. So that's why I say at least around 10 years. But if you teach them properly, okay, without a doubt, they're gonna take care of their health, and they're gonna know, okay, we should not commit crime, all of that. And for the military, instead of being protect yourself, like using force, go with the diplomatic route. Okay, like they may not work all the time, but at least, like, even if you lose, people will still be on your side. So think about it as what happened in Ukraine. So Ukraine, of course, without doubt, you are with my line of thinking is that you're never gonna start a war, but there are going to be a chance that people are gonna throw shots at you. So whether you like, if people did throw the first shot at you, like, you're gonna, like, you did your best to avoid any sort of confrontation, and when they hit us, like, everybody's gonna be on our side. So I think that education is the best. Your promises will be remembered, and they will have consequences. Are you sure about this? Your decision? Yes. Now, okay, budget 3, wealth 1. Now, if we choose if you're rich, we're gonna have 3 wealth, personal wealth. Okay. 2 weeks have passed since we won the election, and now I was about to be sworn in as the 4th president of Sordland. Thousands were watching the inauguration ceremony, cheering my name, President Rayne. The die was cast, and there my story began. In the distance, Maroon Palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what future awaited me there. I look at my family, my son and daughter, Frank and Deanna. Oh, we can actually see them. Okay, Frank Rayne is the son of Anton Rayne and Monica Rayne. He is currently studying at Halsord Marketing High School. And Deanna Rayne is the daughter of Anton Rayne and Monica Rayne. She is attending elementary school in Halsord. In a brief interview, Monica said that she was named after her grandmother, who came in the 80s-60s to Sordland from Magnolia with hopes to start a new life. See, like, in a sense, he is also the son of an immigrant. We're next to Monica, my wife, Monica. Monica Rayne is the current first lady of Sordland. She was born to Lackhaven to parents with agnosordist background. She has a degree in sociology and has worked as a social worker and later as the partnerships manager in Magnus Carter's and campaign assistant of the Swedish League of Women before her marriage to Anton Rayne. Blackhaven is like a rich city, right? Blackhaven is a sprawling port city and the primary trade hub of Sordland. Tall mountains surround it, creating a near to perfect natural harbor, which bewilders new visitors. Most of the international sea trade to Sordland flows through the city. Many Latvians call the city the gateway for that particular reason besides others. Dozens of container and cruise ships can be observed anchoring and leaving port within the same hour. The top 5 exports of the city are furniture, motor vehicles, clothing, electrical machinery, and pharmaceuticals. They're exported in mass to countries like Acacia, Latvia, Volksland, and United Cortana, providing significant economic wealth to the area. The National Business Council has a board full of wealthy individuals who spend their good fortunes on their luxurious lifestyle. Her eyes were glimmering. Okay, I look at my family. My son and daughter, Frank and Diana, were next to Monica, my wife. Her eyes were glimmering with pride. Then, I turned towards the key people who made it possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my cabinet. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Orso Hawker, the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, was waiting for me. Yeah. Orso Hawker is a Swedish politician, jurist, and current Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Scotland since 1937. He graduated from Imperial Marken University in 1903 with a degree on legal theory. Later on, he started working as a public prosecutor and then a judge at the local district of Airlory until the fall of Kingdom of Scotland. During the first government of the Republic, he started working at the Ministry of Justice, where he became an assistant and contributed to the legislative planning and constitutional law. So he's like one of the person responsible for the bill by the first president. As you can see, he's a very important person. Like, our wife and kids doesn't have a lot. If they attempt a coup later, we can deal with them more discreetly. The military might allow. Well, of course, and there's also like an ending. From what I didn't get this ending, but it seems that if you didn't manage properly and like you're hated by both sides, you're gonna be assassinated. I think that's enough. Like with this, okay? The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is waiting for me. The time for the oath has come. It has indeed. I am ready. Let's start. I feel like this one sounds more, more official. It has indeed. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will respectfully execute the office of the President of Sordland, and to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the people and the Constitution of Republic of Sordland. Yeah, this is why Suzerain is like one of the, like, if you ask me, a well written political simulation. Okay, that's why I'm like, it's always on my back burner. So like with the election going on, like, hey, this is a good time for me to to go through this. You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President. Thank you. It's an honor. Let's begin. But like I say, I want to make it sound so official. So like, it's an honor. It's an honor, sir. Dear citizens of Sordland, this sounds a bit like you're on top. Brothers and sisters. If I say brothers and sisters, we're like a big family. But if I just say fellow Sword, like I'm gonna, like, in a sense, like, it's not directly, but it's gonna be like saying, okay, those immigrants, they are not us. They are not a part of us. So I might as well go for brothers and sisters. I want to gain, favor from both sides, both immigrants and the swords. Brothers and sisters, the crowds look very eager to listen to me. The idea of unity changed the current dire situation, change and hope. What am I, Obama? But still, if I just go with the idea of unity, okay, there's no way they're gonna accept it, okay? I'm just gonna make the swords, okay, basically like the nationalists hate me. So if I go for change and hope, without doubt the swords are gonna be, they're not gonna be happy with that, but then they're gonna be, hey, the country is going bad, yeah, we should hope, and to get hope we need to change. So we go for 3. You, the people, have chosen. Together, we will bring prosperity and reform our nation. It is a time of hope, it is a time of change. If we stand together, we will prevail. The issues that plague us, our capabilities. I think we go for 1, okay? Even though there are issues, but there's no way that if we stand together, there's no obstacle that we can't take down. In the past, there have been times of survival, times of conflict, and economic hardship too. But when we stood together, we prevail. I promise you, we will stop the recession and eliminate poverty. That's too specific. Number 1 is just a bit too specific. The future awaits us. Sordland is above all in the world. I feel like saying this, we're gonna trigger a lot of hate from the neighboring countries. So no. First we must rewrite our broken constitution from 1929. All of these are terrible. All of these are terrible. There's no good answer here, if you ask me. If I go for number 3, this is gonna bring hate. This guy is gonna hate us, and like I say, he's a main character. He's a main. He's one of the most main. Can you read the first one? This one. Oh, I promise you, we will stop the recession and eliminate poverty. This is not bad, but it's too specific. Eliminate poverty? Well, among all of the 3, I think that number 1 is, is the most logical. Number 3, this is the most easy to say. This is the best, but we're gonna bring a lot of internal political, hate. So might as well. And besides, this is to be broadcasted towards all. So the first one is the least worst. Okay. It is time for a united and powerful Sordland once again. Sounds very militaristic. I'm not planning to go on militaristic. Change now, not in the next decade or years. Today. We're gonna be bottlenecked, so it might be, we may not be able to do it today. Okay. Our capacity as a nation has never been greater. I think this one's the best. Hundreds and thousands cheered. They were shouting my name in unison. I felt the responsibility, the power, and the burden all at the same time. Race Fist is more of a socialist, communistic type. I don't mind that. Wave is just if you just wave, you don't show your emotion as much. If enjoy the moment, you're just gonna sit back, being laid back. So I think raising the fist is to show that you are gonna be, you're committed to your cause. So that's why Just go for a raised fist. I raise my fist in the air, which triggers a huge applause. Like I say, if you look back and just wait for it or just wave, you're not gonna be a charismatic leader. I took a long look at the people of Sordland to burn this moment into my memory. One of the presidential guards came to notify that it was time to leave. I made my way to the leading car in the motorcade. The presidential state car was a jet black Cadillac with flags of Sordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. Serge Wagner. Hello, Mr. President. This is our driver. Still under the effects of speech I made. Hearing my new title made me smile. Give me a second. I actually wanted to open his, this part here. Swedish driver who served the presidential driver of President Rayne. Born in a small town. Even though that's a lot, because the thing is that he's close to us. He later entered it, but despite completing his training, he did not join the police forces. He briefly worked as a private bodyguard in Hallsop before entering this one. Oh, that's what I didn't pay attention during the first time I played. So in either way, he have background in, as a bodyguard as well. Not bad. If you allow me to introduce myself, I'm Sergey, your new driver. Nice to meet you, Sergey. At ease, Sergey. It's a pleasure. Like 3 sounds too out of like we're not that friendly. I feel like number 2, at ease Serge is the best because like we treat him as a friend. At ease, Sergey. As you wish, Mr. President. He respectfully bowed his head before opening the car door and gesturing inside. I entered the car. We will be heading towards the palace. The motorcade began to move. On the way, Sergey proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. As minutes passed by, I found myself lost in thoughts again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly made a gesture towards the new closer palace. Isn't it beauty? The Maroon Palace. Ting. Okay, where the executive branch of Swedish government is situated. It was constructed to serve as the summer residence of Albrecht Rayne, but quickly became a structure of political importance. The turning point was when the Kingdom of Sordland was announced from the balcony of the palace, reflecting the shift of government from the power of Ellery to Horsort during the transition period. So this is probably during the first president, like Rayne, received the name from maroon painted exterior walls. It was hundreds of rooms and several wings housing different branches of executive government. Underneath the structure is a highly secure situation room where the president is safe from any danger and evaluates any security crisis. Basically, the White House. He was right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-colored domes. It was so bright that I had to look away. Every time I look at it, I am reminded of my duty to this nation. It is in good hands now. So do I, Sergey. It is the beating heart of the nation after all. We all owe a great debt to the man who led the country from here. It's just a building, Sergey. Now, 1 is a bit too confident. 2, it's like we both share that the country is above all. 3 is that it's gonna show that we kind of like miss the first president, but remember, he's an authoritarian. If it's 4, we're gonna make Sergey hate us. So I think like 2 is the best. Yeah, it is the beating heart of the nation after all. Well said, Mr. President. Remember, in this game, you can't manually save, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna auto save, so that you can't like save scum and go back to the previous one that you don't like. The car drove past the majestic gates, continued uphill to the entrance, and stopped in front of the doors. Sergey got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. Morgna Westcore. He referred to the famous Socialist phrase from the times of revolution, Morgana Westcore, Vector Sisda, which means morning will come, victory is close. Morgana Westcore, Victor Sisda. Oh, he just said Morgana Westcore, so without a doubt, Vector Sisda. Okay. I made my way upstairs through the extravagant corridors of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finish decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Okay. So this... Okay. Ooh. There's things to do here, is it? Read the report for Arbory. Let's click. Lack of investment. The Mayor of Arbory, Eric Neal, reports a lack of adequate infrastructure around Arbory, which seriously undermines the attractiveness of Arbory investment climate. Foreign investors, particularly from Magnolia, are becoming hesitant to invest in the city. Meanwhile, according to the data published by the National Business Council, around 90% of the company's total expenditures in Agland is absorbed by logistic costs, while in peer regions this figure is below 10%. So this one is like, this is why, you know, it's a good idea to like just now choose planned economy rather than free market. Okay, because like we can make roads, like implement roads. Okay, so there's another task here. Low production in England. The report calls for the alarmingly low levels of productivity growth in the England, where there are high rates of food insecurity, malnutrition, and rural poverty in inner parts of the region. Like, oh, there's 6 news. Different newspapers. Okay, the Whole Sword Post. Rayne spoke of change and hope. President Rayne has been sworn to duty in a great ceremony in Holsworth. Thousands have attended a speech where President Rayne has met with his supporters for the first time after his election. In his inauguration, Rayne spoke about change and hope, bringing focus on reform. Together, we will bring prosperity and reform to our nation. It is a time of hope, it is a time of change, said the president before he went on to start his first day in Maroon Palace, Sordland today. This is the Nationalist paper. The new president has been sworn to office by Chief Justice Orso Hawker, another great win for the USP and Anton Rayne, who managed to get 37% of the general vote. Like this one is like, hey, it's like a slowly veiled threat, like, hey, you're not gonna stay forever, so remember who's your loyalty to. We can make it worse for you. The first congratulation came from Casado Kiepner of the National Front Party, the runner-up of the general vote. PFJP didn't concede until the last minute. PFJP? People, Freedom and Justice Party is a political party which has promoted liberalism and social democracy in the country. It's at Franz Richter and currently is the main opposition in the Grand National Assembly of Portland. So this one here is I'm gonna make them my biggest ally, but the one thing is that one thing about politics is that do not try to even though that you may agree, but don't make 100% copy of them. Okay, like find 1 or 2 key core items that set you apart. Because if you're both just the same, what, you know, like they will just go for the one that have, you know, the longer track record. National Front Party. NFP is a a nationalist ultra-conservative political party in Sordland, which currently is the second biggest opposition in the Grand National Assembly of Sordland. It is led by Casado Kiepner. This is our enemy. for me. Okay, PFJP didn't concede until the last minute, but the results were clear since several hours in. Thousands of supporters have gathered in the streets of there, chanting campaign slogans. Ah, this is where we're from. Waving flags and displaying USP party banners to display unwavering support to the newly elected president. The public mood is very positive in the city from all accounts on the ground. The city is celebrating that a dare-born president with humble roots is now sitting in the Maroon Palace. Black Haven time. If I'm not, Black Haven, it's like minority sympathizing party newspaper. President Rayne has been elected 4th president of Sordland in the 7th Socialist election. The United Sordland Party has won the election on Sunday with just 37% of the vote, while Franz Richter, the leader of the People PFJP, could gain just over 20%. Casado Kipner, with the head of right-wing Nationalist Front Party, is in the 3rd place with over 11%. The Communist Party of Sordland and the Workers' Party of Bludia both won just below 10% of the vote, failing to pass 10% election threshold. Communist Party of Sordland is a communist party in Sordland. It was founded in 1950 with hopes to bring together many separate left-wing organizations in Sordland under one flag. The party has positioned itself between Melanism and Vauclin Socialism. Melanism is a communist theory advocated by Contented Revolution Leon Malenev. Malenev developed it as a okay. Who is it? Supposed to be Marxist, okay? It's supposed to be Marxist. So like they just rename it. More or less. Okay, Workers' Party of Bludia, WPB, is a Bludish political party in Sordland, which garners most of the support from Bergia region. Generally left-wing, the party places a strong emphasis on participation democracy, unions, minority rights, and egalitarianism. The party brought great criticism for the usage of the Bludish name, Bludia, for the region in Bergia in its name. So, for me, I'm gonna try to, like bring this 3, 1, 2, and the PFJP, okay, this 3 into my side. So if that's the case, like if we just roughly go through it, 20, 30, both won just below 10% of the vote. Okay, maybe let's give these two combined together 15%, 7.5, 7.5, or okay. So 20 plus 15, 35. So you get us over this, the 50%, maybe 60% threshold. Unless I screwed up with my party, so like, but then losing a few of my, the Swordish support from the USP, United Sordland Party, it's gonna be hard, but still, I think that it's something worth investing on. The new term begins with the opposition of PFJP and NFP under the USP government. The unrepresented votes below the threshold resulted in the USP taking 52% of the seats in the Grand National Assembly, giving the lawmakers power. The new seat numbers have been finalized as follows: USP 130, PFJP 70, NFP 40, Independence 10. Okay, Independence 10 is probably like Communist Party of Sordland and Workers' Party of Bludia. Yeah, I'm gonna like bring PFJP into my side. Radical. How many times will people fall for the same trap? I've seen this before with Colonel Sol, who supposedly saved the country and brought stability in times of chaos. His stability, however, meant a life of oppression. Any opposing voices were silenced and many were prosecuted. Next was Alfonso, who was elected as the liberal reformer to bring change to the USP and Sordland. Seeing his unfortunate inability, his own cabinet resigned. As the third USP candidate became president, it is high time to realize that real change won't come from the party. Oh, I'm gonna change it for sure. Economist. restructure the infrastructure after the recent successful mega infrastructure projects from United Katana and Falkland. The world is warming up to the idea as a source of growth and employment, but is there any truth to this success? The investment analysis indicates that infrastructure investment can be fruitful in the short term, but even more so in the long term, especially if they focus on linking economic nodes that business logistics depend on. Okay, so this one is about the artery one. Just now we say that the logistics have in trouble. Okay, this, however, the first step. The crux of the matter is diversification of investment, where government supports employment and growth. It is a key to help private businesses and government contracts, tax breaks, and political support in order to create self-sufficient and dynamic economy. Economic growth and income equality in this country won't be fixed otherwise. Yeah. End of Solonomics. A new era for Sordland, and it holds many economic questions that we will need to be answered by President Rayne. Well, at least it's not Trustonomics. Okay. Our top economy analyst, analyst consultation of National Business Council, have released comprehensive report on the performance of the past 20 years. A certain section of the report stands out. The last four-year plans of the plan doctrine created a budget deficit and a clear reduction of the industrial production output. This was specifically due to the mismanagement and inefficient bureaucracy. The year-on-year growth, budget balance, and production index values indicate the two most productive consecutive years had been when privatization program of Alfonso began in 1949. Our editorial team, with the help of experts like Mikhail Avon and Eddie Aknock, have come to the conclusion that the recession was not actually caused by Edward Alfonso's bold privatization program, but the drastic obstruction of the state executive hindering the plan. Okay, so we're gonna follow Edward Alfonso's economic plan. President Rayne must take the advice from the plan economic proponents around him with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, he could find himself in the same spot of Tarquin Salt in the mid-40s. Okay, so that's all about the news. But before that, let's check this one out first. Loses importance. Latest marine traffic reports show that Port Lakehaven is no longer the busiest of the Marcopa continent, falling behind the third position. While this is a negative indicator for our administration, Lakehaven still has potential to shine again as a major trading center. The port of Lakehaven is the largest port in Sordland and holds enormous importance for the economy, particularly as the main distribution center, linking the capital and inner parts of Sordland to the rest of the world. Major port cities will hopefully keep supporting a possible economic upturn in the entire country if investment projects succeed. Like, this give us like more ideas on what to do. Ooh. Congratulations. Prime Minister Alvarez congratulate you. Okay. He sent his best wishes to the Swedish people, warned us about the threat of the mailing list. Okay, this is like the capitalist. Anymore? Congratulations from President Smolak. Okay, send congratulations on the election victory. Signaling a desire to normalize the diplomatic situation between the two countries. Okay. But anymore? Oh, anymore? Huh? Funny. Didn't say anything. Rumberg. Kingdom of Rumberg. PM Van Houten. Okay, Prime Minister Van Houten congratulations. He signaled he wishes to continue the trade partnership. Okay, trade partners. What's this? Vogtland. Congratulations. Signal concession from Vogtland in case of promising trade deal. So this one here, like, we are both gonna, like, who we're gonna trade is the biggest problem. I don't think we can trade with both of them. But since Agnolia is okay, since Agnolia is connected by us by land, like, we can use this. We need to like improve our infrastructure. Okay, but if we go for this, okay, it's gonna receive a lot of import and export. Okay, basically making the port of Blackhaven a bigger place. Okay, that's it. Read report from Holsort, logistical issues. Mayor of Holsort reports that the rising population of fast urban expansion has resulted in high levels of congestion in the city traffic. The logistic report underlines increased traffic and slow transportation routes as the biggest problem of the capital. The mayor also reported the absence of well-designed, large land-based logistical center where all transporters come together is one of the greatest problems for domestic transporters. Because Holsort is a big metropolis, transporters are scattered all over Holsort, having established such as 10 different districts. General staff gathers. The general staff convened right after the elections to congratulate a victory. All branches of Soudish armed forces were represented in a meeting that took place in Camp Strong Arm with massive security measures. Okay. Volgan Kruger made public press statement highlighting the increasing chance of military confrontation with Eastern Markopa and requested support to strengthen the military. If we have budget, then maybe we can go for it. If we have the budget. Camp Go Hard. What do you mean from Otaku Adventure? Go Hard? Briefing on the current political situation. Office of President of Sordland. Okay, briefing first. Peter Vector, this is our right hand man, arrived a couple of minutes early and sat across from me. He was struggling to hold back his smile. We did it, Anton. We've won! Finally! All those years with our noses to the grindstone paid off. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past months had put a damper on his usual rakish charm, but today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid the two top buttons of his shirt. Enjoying the new secretary I picked out for you? Thought you appreciate her gorgeous sets of talents. It reminds me of a strong arm, and yeah, I was joking. Yeah, it's okay. Like I say, it just reminds me of, Go Hard from Otaku's Adventure. It's a shame that for the rest of your stuff aren't as easy on the eyes. He gestured to the side of paunch that protruded over his waistband. But hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we would be sitting here in the Maroon Palace? We have to celebrate this great victory. Celebrate then. I got my hands on something special for us. An Elorian Maroon 30-year-old. We'll celebrate at the inaugural ball. Just hang on in there until evening. If I say we don't time to celebrate, then Peter is more like a relaxing guy, okay? Okay, let's just go. Okay, served as the vice president of Sordland. Peter is regarded as a charismatic politician, especially known for his playback style and charming public personality. In 1938, with the recommendation of Anton Rayne, Peter became a member of the assembly. He is married to Evelyn Vectorn, who became a controversial figure because of her pro-government articles when she was working as a journalist. So in other words, that she's under the first President Soul's, she's on her side, on President Soul's side. Journalist, author, and school teacher who is the wife of Peter Vectorn. Support his husband's political career. She ended her career as a teacher of literature at the prestigious Holsort State High School. After graduating, I just want to see about her political leanings. Started working as a teacher. Expelled from the newspaper after defending it. Okay. She's not under President Soul. She's under Ewolf Alfonso's one. Okay. Writing about a conspiracy by the state apparatus. In 1953, she quit her job to support Peter Vectorn's candidacy as the running mate of Anton Rayne. Okay. So I think she's on our side. Because you remember Ewolf Alfonso's policies are great, but due to the bureaucracy, it failed. Okay? Now, one thing that we learned about Peter, he's a very laid-back guy. If we choose this, he's not gonna like it. So let's go for number 2. Okay? Hold it, man. Like, don't go crazy. We're gonna celebrate later. Okay? Looking forward to it. Evelyn hopes to congratulate you in person there. Good to know. It has been some time since I last met her. I'm sure the kids would love to see the Uncle Peter as the first time as the vice president. The outcome is not the greatest option, but none of these options are guaranteed to produce positive outcomes anyway. This game is intended to induce conflict, so I guess that's the point though. Yeah, of course, it's gonna like there's going to be tough choices, okay? But I don't want to make him my enemy, because if I make him my enemy, like, remember while we were away, he helped us, and like he probably have a lot of dirt on me, okay? But still, rather than that, I also want him to be a reliable partner when things gets rough. We'll see each other at the ball, and this sounds too far off. If I do this, it's more of a like NTR type, but I think this is the best. I'm sure the kids would love to see Uncle Peter for the first time as the vice president. Like, this one, I don't see there's any downside to it. That is great to hear. It's crazy how fast those two have grown up. You're a good father. Peter had a wistful look in his eyes. He and Evelyn had never been able to have kids on their own. During our campaign, the opposition had floated in the rumor that he had fathered illegitimate children during his wilder years, but it had never been substantiated. Tabloids. The door swung open and Lucian Gallade, my chief strategist, walked in. Okay, chief strategist. He worked as a lawyer and CSO at several companies before joining politics as a legal advisor to members of assembly. He was chosen as the spokesperson of the United Sordland National Committee prior to serving as an advisor to the Interior Minister during the Tarquin Sol last term as president. This guy... Okay, I think you should read this one as well. Lucian is well respected as a successful strategist, especially for his accomplishment in the recent elections. He's one of the most experienced members of the cabinet. Although he is not a famed public figure, he is regarded by many to be an expert on law and media. His quick rise to politics is also bringing more attention to him than before. He was one of the first supporters of President Rayne's candidacy in 1953 and credited as the strategist of the election campaign. He eventually became the chief strategist to the president after the election. Basically, he's the brain of our operation. So yeah, do not make him angry. Okay, he was a compact man with sharp bird-like features. After briefly surveying the room from wall to wall, he sat down, poured a glass of water, and opened his briefcase in a series of quick, graceful movements. Gentlemen, the tall case clock in the room struck 3 o'clock. Damn, you're exactly on time. Hello, Peter. The brains of the operation. Lucian turned towards me. He very slightly bowed his head. Glad to see you, Lucian. Lucian, how are you? Let's not waste any time. Lucian, proceed with the overview. He's like, for me, I take him as a serious guy. Might as, like, if I say this, like, yeah, we should get to business. Glad to see you. Glad to see you too, sir. And then, like, even though, like, this is what he wants, but I think he'll still respect, the greetings. Okay? It is a privilege to be here, sir. Lucian spoke in soft, clipped tones that immediately drew your attention toward what he had to say. Peter and I waited for him to proceed. Let's start by evaluating our current situation. The majority of Swedish people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than the constitution, but they blame the system for their problems. Yeah, so they are worried. They know they are worried about economy, but they know the problem is the constitution. People are losing their trust in our democracy. Why do you think radicals like Bernard Circus is becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring change. The last government did not. Okay, he's a poet, short story writer, and politician. Venom thought, because I cannot really read the text, this game seems like a political version of Choose Your Own Adventure. Okay. If you say that you can't read, then let me see. Give me a moment. Maybe I'll just make it bigger a bit. Maybe. Wait. Give me a second. Let me see. If I make it a bit bigger around this. Okay, and for me, I'll just move around over here. Yeah, too small. It's a bit sticking off to the edge. Yeah, I think this is as far as I can go without, disturbing the chat. Okay. This much. I think this is a bit better. Just, like, since this is a lot of reading, so like I think making it this big, it's for the best. Okay. I think like at least now you can see it better. Okay. He's a writer. His early writing were heavily influenced by social, cultural, and economic problems of his home city of Dare. He's also like from noble roots as us. Okay. He earned him the description of a romantic communist. He joined Red Youth, just like us, during Swordist Civil War and fled Sordland after the war was over. Surviving the purge of Tarquin Soul, he moved to United Cortana and studied sociology at the Communist University of Pure. There was influenced by the artistic experiment of Cortanan poets who advocated futurism as well as the ideological vision of Malenev. Many of his works are regarded as the greatest achievement of the Swordist literature and earned him many awards abroad. Because of his political views, his works have been banned in Scotland since 1930. Okay. Everyone expecting us to bring the change the last government did not. Franz Richter, leader of the Reformists, believed that true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our power to the Assembly. I will move into the details of their demands shortly. This is most probably like referring to the Supreme Court blocking a lot of our agendas. Can you give me a moment? Like let's take a look. Can I check the setting? Give me a second. I think I save and exit to the main menu and we're gonna continue it for a while. Maybe let's see, you can make the UI bigger a bit. No. It's a bit sad though. Well, let's just continue. Oops. So this is the same thing. We'll celebrate the inaugural ball, just hang. Kids love. Okay, a bit more. Glad to see you, Lucian. Start by evaluating your current situation. Okay, here. Okay, I agree the reform is our responsibility to democratize our broken system. We need to listen to the people if we want to serve this country. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the changes we need to make for the good for the country. All three here are rings very true. Okay. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the changes we need to make for the good of the country. I think that this is what we have to do. If we agree the reformists, then what's the difference? Uh, okay. Yeah, okay, I understand that. So like the thing is that I can't really like do much unless I can change the UI size a bit. That's why I was looking around the options, like is there like, can we make, maybe this is medium size, I should increase it to a large size. Maybe that's something that the developers could take into account. I do feel like this is like, for me, since I'm looking at it in the full screen, it's just nice for me. But like for those who are watching the stream, it's gonna be a bit hard. Well, unless I like make it unless I make it full, you know, the whole screen. As it is now though, yeah. Unless, well, give me a second. Let me try and do this. I think I'll turn off the chat for this game and I'll just make it a bit bigger. Around this much. Yeah, I think this is just for the game. For Suzerain, I'll make it as this big. I'll turn off the chat for the game. Okay. Like yeah, this much. Okay. Regarding this, I'm not sure which one. I think 3. Like we go for the long term, hopefully. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the changes we need to make for the good of the country. It may create issues for us, yes. However, with the reformists gaining more popularity, we may not be in a position to stand against them. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many members of the assembly to give their support for drafting new constitution. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. We are gonna change the constitution, but we have to make several okay. It is why it seems to be a while for me to type messages as well. It's okay. Like I kind of realized that, so that's why like I didn't say much about it. So I think this way, like I turn off the chat for it, so for us to focus. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. We are gonna agree with them. Let's say for example, like the reformists ask for 10 things, for example. We agree around 7, like, and the other 3 we try to be complacent. Okay? While the reformist wing inside our party is still a minority, they could have a tripartisan majority in the assembly, especially if they unite under Franz Richter. This is what we need to be careful. If we need to strike a nice balance between both of them. The USP reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge. Mr. Richter could potentially be our ally in our goal to maintain a majority in the assembly. Our party must fall in line in our position. We can't have a strong divide. Okay, third is out. It's either 1 or 2. I think I go for number 1. Like Richter, okay? Franz Richter, I feel like he is too idealistic, okay? So in a sense, he's, well, I'm not saying Bernie is an idealist, but in the context of America, he is an idealist. Okay, but in other countries, he's just like he's basically a standard politician. But since there are not many people like him, yeah, of course we want him as our ally. But but since he is too idealistic, he's not gonna like he's not gonna take no for an answer. But you can understand that let's say he asked for something so crazy, like, okay, you want 10,000? Okay, I can give you 6,000. That's the most. Okay, so like you need to know your limit, but he doesn't know that. I think number 1 is better. Okay, USP reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge. We can't let the PFJP leadership take spotlight on this. The reformists' demands are clear. They want to limit the president's veto powers, ensure the Supreme Court is independent, and take away courts' right to vote on constitutional amendments. Now, without a doubt, if you take away the president's veto power, it's a bit bad for us, but to keep our power in check. So this one we can give away. Ensure that Supreme Court is independent. Now, this is hard. As you know, the Supreme Court, well, basically, remember that we read about the previous president. He can't, enact his plan properly is because like there's bottlenecks, and most of them come from the Supreme Court. That shows that they have huge power. Okay, now we can ensure that the Supreme Court is independent. I would say like among these 3, this is the most hardest thing to do, and take away the court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. Now this too is like, wait, now let me think about it. Both of these are equally hard, if you ask me. I think they still want it, but it's either you make it independent or you make it, they are unable to vote on constitutional amendments. I think we should make it more independent, and that way we can somehow like skew the vote in our favor. Is what I think. I support the reformists. We need a proper balance of power in this country. We must listen to their demands, otherwise we are no different than the previous administrators. I won't allow them to influence me. We will shape our own futures. I think number 1 is best. Support the reformists. We need a proper balance of power in this country. I agree. We can't ignore the winds of change after all. The old guard will do its best to preserve the constitution. Old guard. The Sordland term old guard is referred to describe a group of influential individuals in the government. While some call it an urban myth and dismiss it, others are claiming the existence of a wide deep state. I was trying to type a message at that point. I was not quite tuned in during the discussion of the previous president. Okay. Nah, like I said, the previous president is about that he's very open to the free market, and like if we can open, I'll try and check if we can open it. Maybe this one here, codex. Journal. Maybe not. Just now we were in history, location, cities. Oh my god, it's a lot. Okay, let me summarize what they say just now about it. It's basically saying that, like I say, he's a very good. He wants the country to be more free in terms of the market, but if I'm not wrong, it's Peter's wife, Evelyn. Okay. And he says here that his plan was working well, but due to the bureaucracy, it had been stopped. Okay, during key points of it. So that's why Ewal Alfonso, the last president, failed. So some people believe in. This is not a conspiracy. Well, when you think about conspiracy, it's like, you know, in the shadows, but this is basically an open secret, well, because we are in this circle, okay? We are in the position of power. The old guard will do his best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges will have a great influence over the Supreme Court, which is will be a tough to break. We have to give concession to him, cause he have the Supreme Court under tight rule. Like if you read throughout the Supreme Court the arc, easy to say, you're gonna be reminded of American Supreme Court a lot. Okay, the court also has the final say over constitutional legislation. Without their approval, we cannot even change it. Not like that. I meant the last thing about hypothetical old guard. Okay. Give me a second. Sorry about that, I got a call. It reminds me of Illuminati or something. Well, Illuminati is like, I wouldn't say Illuminati is not real because we don't have the knowledge behind the scene. But I would like to say that that in this case, Illuminati. There are powers behind the scenes. You will see it later. Like, the shadow will come out. Okay? In this case, it's not metaphorical. It is. There are people who are pulling the strings. You'll see later. Soon. Well, I would say soon. Maybe in chapter 2 or chapter 3. The court has finally. We need a comprehensive bill to balance the power structure more fairly. We must break the power of Supreme Court one way or another. This is just too much. I'd rather not go against them. The risks are too high. But I think this one, number 1, is better. We need a comprehensive bill to balance the power structure more fairly. Okay, I agree. The old guard won't like this though. It was literal, huh? Yep. A comprehensive reform that would make the reformists happy would mean maintaining a balance between 2 branches of government, which means removing your absolute veto as well. The reformists demand that all loopholes in the constitution are closed. Like I say, all loopholes are just a bit too much. I don't mind giving my veto power away. Okay? Looks like we have many challenges ahead. We cannot let obstructionists to exist. If it's number 2, it's like, let's eliminate them. We can't underestimate the situation. I think that number 1 is better. Many challenges ahead. We can figure it out. Our party still hosts 130 out of 250. Just a bit of slim majority in the assembly. We got the power. However, to reform the constitution, we must receive 2/3 of the Grand National Assembly, which is 166. And a simple majority in the Supreme Court that equates to 6 votes. How many Supreme Court are there? Let me see. Do you have the number? No. If I'm not wrong, there are 11. After we have settled on how to proceed, we will need to talk with our party figures. Our first goal must be to get to 150 signatures needed to start the process. Following the green light of the USP, we will reach out to the other party leaders to see if they would back our draft. Our last step is to convince the justices of the court. The entire process will take a long time, but we must start working with a reform committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible. We will write a more democratic constitution with reformists. The new constitution should be given wide-ranging power to lead Sordland into the future. No, even if we met well, but that power is just too much. If we give it to the next person, it's gonna, like, all our works could be, redone. We could work with the old guard to protect our existing extensive powers. No. If we do that, it's like we may gain power in the behind the scenes, but we do not gain the public support. So we have to go to number one. We'll write a democratic constitution with the reformists. That's what we've been preparing for internally, but don't forget that promise is what we get. That is the promise that got us elected. The key thing here will be strengthening the power of assembly, which we already lead with a majority. Peter nodded in agreement. Yes, the division of power need to be rebalanced for a battle of Sordland. According to the initial draft we made with the reformists, there are two changes of the constitution that are not open for the discussion. Lucian opened his dossier. First, the Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. Second, President Absolute Veto will be taken away. This can be replaced with a limited veto system by fixing the current loophole. Okay, this one I don't mind giving. This is gonna be hard. I have no problem with these clauses. Let's work with the reformists. I wish there's a third one. Two changes to the constitution are not open to discussion. But they are not open to discussion, no. If I don't include these points, then... Okay, remember, we need 160. Okay, let me see. If I'm not mistaken, 250. So there are a total of 250. 250, 70 is PFJP, and that leaves 50. The rest will be independents. Oh, 30 are the ultra nationalists. I don't want to be with them. I think we have to work with them, no matter what. We can gain maybe a couple of votes from the independents, but it's just a bit too much. Like I say, I just want the first part, to be amended a little bit. Yeah. Yes, sir. Lucian nodded. We'll form a reform committee together with all parties and start reaching out to all stakeholders in the assembly and the court for a new constitution. By later in the year, we should have an idea of the reform contents and what the other parties want. Lucian took notes. Another important point, we must be aware that Lothenberg Group, the oligarchs convene under the organization to influence economic policies. Conrad led it for a long time before falling ill. The new leader is Mr. Walter Tusk, Lothenberg Group. Private non-NGO, which assess the economic condition of Sordland and take Globe. So currently the spokesman of the organization is Walter Tusk, who was elected by the majority vote. Officially, Lothenberg has a vague structure and limited leadership roles, but the spokesman is considered to be the de facto leader of the entity. The group convenes every 3 months at the Hotel Berg in the village of Slaughter. So this is the conspiracy, like the group that is, well, this is the financial group that control the country. I'm not saying it's only for the financial, and it does have a lot of weight. Walter Tusk. is a millionaire businessman, investor, and the current spokesman of the Lauterbach Group. He owns the Economist Group, which publishes a well-known newspaper, The Economist, and he is a major shareholder of the Swedish steel company, Bergia Steel. According to Black Haven Times, he is the 8th richest Sword as of 1953. According to reports, some members of the National Business Council are in the pockets. Tuss and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protections. I want to work with them anyway. The new administration will be open to talk to businessmen. I won't be bored, it won't happen. I will enter a dialogue with them eventually. We need to be diplomatic. We won't let these privileged, greedy, snobby capitalists run the country. Now, I won't be bored, it won't happen. We won't let the privileged, greedy, snobby capitalists run the country. Without doubt, that's not gonna happen. Okay? But I still think that we need to, we need to be diplomatic with them, because if they want, they can take us down. I would say they can take us down. They can really chip away our support. So, besides, like I said early on, even though we're going to be a planned market, I do want it to be in between, a little bit of free market, for them. Okay, we need to be diplomatic. Wise approach. It is good to understand if we can reach a middle ground. See, even Lucian agrees. Lucian, look at Peter. As far as I know, Master Coronti has strong ties to this group. His influence could definitely be an asset for us, but I'm sure he'll want something in return. Master Coronti. Businessman, philanthropist. He operates the HOS Advertising, the largest advertising company in Sordland. He is also a board member of the HOS, Sordland's largest conglomerate operating in the media, energy, construction, trade, and tourism industry. He previously served as the chairman of the HOS Resort, a luxury hotel group with 12 destinations in 8 countries. Okay, this one we don't need to read the bottom part. I'm aware of Mr. Coronti's wide network. That could come in handy. The group influence is an important force, one that we could use to our administration advantage. That group is dependent in our economic policy. They can't move a finger without us, but they can hurt us. Head the group should make him on our side. Like I say, I want to find a middle ground between them. If we do this, they're gonna if we say this, they're gonna outright be hostile toward us. Let's just go for number 2. The group influence is an important force, one that we could use to our administration advantage. If we can get them to our side, it all depends on what benefits we can offer and what the leader wants. But without a doubt, I'm not gonna give everything away to them. Maybe at best 50-50. Though I want to skew more to my side. We need to tread carefully on all sides with all powers to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness of the situation. The military and the general staff are a powerful element in the state, and as history tells us, a dangerous one too. We do have some room to make structural changes, but by reducing their budget, for example, but it is quite limited. I want to receive the advice of military before making up my mind. I don't want to die in prison just like Arthur S. Whiskey did. With the rumbled threat on the horizon, we can't reduce our defense capability to anger our general staff. The military has been nothing but a burden on our society. We should do something about something drastic, like cutting their funding. 4 is out. Because if we choose 4, that's like a recipe for coup. A military coup. So maybe the first thing I think to do is advise the military before making up my mind. I don't plan on expanding it. I might keep it as is, okay? But this is the problem. Since we didn't align ourselves with either East or the West, like the capitalists or the socialists, the thing is that if we if we side with one of them, they're gonna provide some backup in terms of military. I kind of screwed up that part, but never mind. I want to receive advice on military before making up my mind. I think I should at least add a bit to our military. A bit. I want to receive the advice on military before making up my mind. It is sound to listen to them, but they have very biased and narrow opinion. Patriotism cloud their minds. General Kruger is a spectre of the past. Not one, not two, not four. Two seems too cowardly and really seem too weak. How about two? For me, like I say, we receive advice. It's not like we're gonna act on the advice, okay? Like from there we can talk. When we receive the advice, we can talk to them. Okay. So the idea is we can talk to them, okay? But say we are not gonna go and without a doubt, what the general here think is that he wants us to be a strong nation, but at the same time, being a strong nation, we're not gonna go and attack other nation. 3 damn autocorrect. No, it's okay. Like, I'm trying to typing like the it's okay. Because I do understand there's a delay after all. Defense Minister Iosef Lancia is more loyal to us compared to the General Kruger. Okay. A fact that obviously can change with our actions. Either way, I see a potential rift between the two since they are clearly of different minds. So we get Iosef on our side. If we act strongly against the military, both of these will unite against us. I agree with Lucian, we need to tread carefully here. Now, without a doubt, it's like you need to say we are on one end, which is the pacifist end. Now, on the far side, on the other one, is General Kruger. Okay, and I don't think I should go with him, but at the very least, we should be on Iosef's level, where I think that all he wants is that we can protect ourselves. So we're just gonna go until that level. I tend to use autocomplete if I rush. Don't worry about it. I'll try to like whenever it comes to choices, I'll go a bit slower. Lucian looked at his watch. Well then, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes. This concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about our media strategy. Talk to you soon, sir. I'll keep in touch. See you both at the next meeting. Lucian and Peter bid their farewell and left. A mysterious amount of smoke was rising far away in the horizon. Huh? Smoke? Read the report on Paul's public opinion report. Police report on HSSU fire. A fire broke out in the academic administration building of the Horsford State University. The initial report from the chief police in Horsford indicates a near to complete destruction of employee records from 1890s until now, along with the original copies of internationally recognized academic research was destroyed. The extent of the damage is worse than expected. That ball guy looks like a Hitler and like pretty shiny. I bet. Prior to he was a captain, so he gained national-wide fame after his heroism and accomplishment as a major during the Wackerland Civil War, which also earned him the highest military order. We're gonna get him outside. Like, if we get both of the generals against us, we're dead. Public opinion. Wax it, and then like it shines brighter than sun. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reformist propaganda from the leader of People PFJP, Franz Richter, have resulted in massive increase in demands of democratic reform. It is estimated that currently 55% of the population support the reformist ideas. Now, what I did last time is that I went totally for agreeing with Franz Richter, and at the end, what I did was just help him, and he became the next president. So like I say, I agree with him, but I want to separate ourselves. Ooh. Reform committee. A reform committee has been formed to discuss the possibility of a new constitution with all parties in the government. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's why I say this game have a lot of things. Take a look at there. Holy. Okay, diplomacy will come later. Okay, diplomacy will come later. BFP ban. Ex-president and our founders Tarquin Sol declared the British Freedom Party (BFP) to be an illegal criminal organization due to their secessionist activities. Any suspected members of the party shall be arrested without trial. This is more or less during the communist era, where anybody with any ties to communists will be taken out. Any event, operation, or organization suspected to be colluding with the BFP will be disbanded and its partakers arrested. So here, I think we should remove the BFP, and with this, I think we can have PFJP, okay, the reform party to get on our side, okay. Because I think that they want to remove this as well. They just want a fairer party. Yes, McCarthyism. Let's see. I can check that out, but I want to check the minor reports. Increasing homelessness. There. The region of Bergia, among the worst hit regions in Sordland, where homeless has skyrocketed since the economic recession. The number of homeless in the city of Dare is more likely to have increased by 25% in the last year. The rise was particularly stark among Bluish people, okay, basically the minority, where the homelessness increased by 72% in 6 years. It is reported that homelessness among ethnic minorities has reached the highest level in more than a decade. British minority of the region now account for 47% of the homeless people here. More broadly, the cancellation of Logan Paul. The Paul brothers, at least now they are not that bad, compared to their time where they visited Japan. I would say that they are bearable now, but that doesn't mean that they are good. Fire strike Salt State University archive. Okay. I'm not gonna read all, but I feel like this one here, it might be planned. It was put up by local firefighters burning for 8 hours and ravaging through historic library which housed many priceless documents. I feel like it's just too much of a coincidence. Reporters on scene have relayed that the event occurred in the evening with multiple staff of the faculty being transported to the hospital with severe burns, but no death occurred. The rector, Sander Navak, immediately commented that the incident has damaged several academic works and employee records. We might have lost the world, or we might have lost Makopa. We won't know until the day we can enter the facility to evaluate. Both of them, at least now they are realizing, like before this, like I say, during during their time in Japan, like, and the time afterwards, they still think like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. And the second thing is that they didn't see their they didn't see their influence, okay, to their audience. And what I would like to say is that recently with the talk about him fighting Andrew Tate, at first he's like against it, and now he's like going for it. When he said that he was against fighting Andrew Tate, it's like he knows how toxic he is, okay, and with how toxic he is, but now since he say that, yeah, he's up to fighting it, it seems like he's still, doesn't understand, the extent of his platform. A committee for reforms, Speaker Gloria Torrey, Grand Assembly, I think graduating Horseward. Okay, never mind. I don't think this much is. I'll only focus on the important one. Supporting Assembly Group for Campaign Finance Bill. This one's a finance bill. The party aimed to change the criteria of proportional votes in general election to proportional seats won by a political party in Grand National Assembly. This will result in an increase of about 28 million SR to the governing United Sordland Party, which will benefit most of the... This new bill will give political parties an annual of 500,000 SR per member of assembly. Not bad. I think like if we do this, then like we're gonna make more politicians on our side, so that they're gonna get more money. For this National League start season. National League kicks off with the SK Duckhaven and Bentley match. Well, this one's nothing. Romberg going south. Our foreign policy analysts are reviewing the recent aggressive military and diplomatic developments in Romberg, have come to the conclusion that it's highly likely that Romberg will keep trying and push further south, threatening the territories of Sordland, Welfland, and possibly Agnolia. So this one is Romberg, right? Romberg, if I'm not wrong. Remember, Romberg didn't congratulate us. Romberg didn't congratulate us. So I still hate his trip. That's why I say, like, I don't know how, what's his position with about. I think that he realized he screwed up, but I wonder if he really realized why people don't like his consequences, okay, or the sensitivity of the issue. Because the Aokigahara forest, where he found when he went to see the body, it's without doubt, suicide is a taboo issue in Japan. But more importantly, Aokigahara is considered as a spiritual site, because it's the base of Mount Fuji after all. Meeting of the media strategy. I think let's get a briefing first. Okay, briefing on the finance. Simon Hall, Gus Manger, Lydia's Graf, okay, were about to arrive in the White Room for our scheduled economy meeting. This was the room in Maroon Palace where all important meetings were held. Two assistants arrived first. Carrying a heavy projector, they stood with it by the door, waiting for the ministers to enter. From the hallway, I heard Lydia's voice. She was using the patient, almost motherly tone she often took in heated arguments. Lydia's Graf. Current Minister of the Interior. Let's see. Elected official. I want to see her political leanings and what does she want. mayor. Her accomplishment in the city brought her nationwide popularity. This prompted Taekwondo to pick a replacement as the mayor of Holsworth. Her policies of urban planning and public education transformed Holsworth. Okay, so this one I think I want her to be on my side. Credited for the economic booms in the Ivory. Okay, I want her to be on my side. Yeah, you mean Aokigahara, the base of Mount Fuji? It is, and it is a religious. I won't say religious. It's spiritual, more like it. You guys, do you really think that such an economically advanced area is more in need of investment in Eggland? Previous, my interior minister, Sordland, she was clad in shades of brown and beige, the only spot of color of her bright yellow Nuri star on her necklace. Gus followed close behind. Don't be an idiot, Lilius. What about unemployment crisis in the greater Holsworth and Gelsland regions are going through? These areas are economic heartland. So you're talking about which one to focus, the rural side or the urban side? I feel like for me, okay, what I want to do is that we improve the infrastructure in the rural side, but we at the same time we create more jobs in the urban area. Like in a sense, like what China did, okay, with bringing people to the urban side, like maybe work in factories for a moment, okay, and later on when we are more stable, we can develop the rural area as well. Based on all the perception of it here, the site here seems to be always be portrayed as mysterious and haunted rather than wholly sacred or spiritual. It is spiritual, but the thing is that the reason why it's haunted is that the idea of Aokigahara is that it's a dance forest, okay? It's a dance forest. Like people think like well, it is a good place for me to to suicide so that I can be wild with nature. It's like rather than being scary, is that people are attracted to the spiritual side to it and go there to suicide. It's not like the main thing is that it is scary. It's like the scary is the effect of people going there, but what brings them there is a spiritual thing, if that makes sense. It's like, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, in this case, which one is more important, spiritual or scared, or the horror part? Okay, if you ask me, it is spiritual first, which later brings people to suicide, and then later it turns to a scary sight. Don't be an idiot, Lilius. What about employment in the greater Holsworth and Gelsland regions are going through? These areas are our economic heartland. Gus curled his hand into a fist. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development temper hadn't changed since days in Alfonso's administration, but neither had his reputation for getting his things done. His far-reaching network connection was unlike any other. Ooh, I want to see Gus. Member of the cabinet managed to retain his position. Regarded as a successful businessman, Gus made major investment in Anrika FC Football Club, famed for successful agricultural policies. Can we improve the cities? Yeah, but I don't think we can improve everything at once. Simon Hall quickly stepped between the two ministers without looking at either of them. He cleared his throat. Good morning, Mr. President. See, Simon Hall, I want to see his, what kind of person he is, whether I want to bring him to my side. And I think both of them are good. Both of them are good. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is that I want to improve like the logistic infrastructure on the rural side so that they can move to the urban side. And when like it may seem like we are only focused on the urban side as well, only urban side. But when we have more budget, we're gonna expand to the other side. But the thing is that whether they can wait, that's the trouble. And like say, I'm trying to like copy what China did in what China did is that they bring the poor people to the urban side, and then later on that's how they improve their lifestyle. Okay, let's see. Fame for promotion of free market economy. Several books. Okay, he's a supporter of us. But just a pure free market, I don't agree with that. Easy to say. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. I think you better greet first. How are you? I'm very well and motivated, Mr. Rayne. It seems our ministers are feeling the same. I can clearly see that. What was that discussion about? Yeah, I think we should just step in and go through it. We were having discussion about the infrastructure plan. If I may, I would like to talk about the... Simon interrupted. We will get there, Gus. No rush. First, I would like to conduct my economic presentation. Like I say, I don't really like this guy that much because he's a pure free market. Like I say, I'm not saying like going for planned market fully is the best idea, but you need to leave some room. So I want to talk to Gus first. Okay, I'm interested in what Gus has to say. Of course, Mr. President. Sir, I have very good construction companies willing to take government contracts in the greater Holsort and Gasland regions. Huh? I thought you were the agriculture. Fame for his yeah, it seems like he wants to even though he's the agriculture, but he wants to improve the unemployment in the urban areas first. This would boost the rural economy. Oh, I think it would be wise to pick investment that will go through these regions. No need to rush this, Gus. We will figure it out. Simon pulled a silk handkerchief out of his pocket and briefly wiped his glasses. My staff and I had a comprehensive analysis of every aspect of... He was interrupted by a groan from one of the assistants by the door, both whom were visibly struggling to hold up the heavy projector. Oh, you can put it there. He pointed below the painting of President Soul. The assistant placed the projector next to the table and installed a white screen on the wall. Leave now. Thank you. Please leave now. Simon is a little bit of a jerk. I wanted the opposite, since urban centers have more people, they can improve our economy, and then we can use that to gain the rural improvement. They can... Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, is that we bring people to the urban side. Okay, when we have leeway, then we develop it. It's like if we go the other way around, if we develop the rural side, but our urban side is not well developed, then they can't deal with the increased wealth. So it's like putting the cart before the horse. The assistant left the cabinet room. I was reminded that Simon had never quite a way with people, but his facility with numbers has made him the most sought-after economic specialist in Sordland. Simon started looking for his slides. He always carried documentary documentation around with him. Thought you said rural. Yeah, like I say, we start with the urban. Okay, then after that we push when we have leeway. Wait. Vivia's leaned onto the table and spoke. Simon, what happened to the new police station construction in Astaford? While going through the briefcase, he paused for a moment to answer. It got stalled due to a government property boundary issue. I have been meaning to look at it. See? Bureaucracy. I can take a look at that one. Astor needs all the security help we can get. Sure, more time for me to spend on analysis. His eyes glittered when he finally found the slides he was looking for. There have been some developments about Sordland losing further value today. We have been trying to stabilize it with the central bank. The recession of 51 enormously pressured the pressure on the economy, resulting in the collapse of value of our currency. The entire situation was a significant cause of concern for our administration. What would you like to know about the current economic situation? GDP. Well, I think we can ask for all, right? I think I'll go for the most important one first. I'll ask for the employment and inflation rate first. Employment has skyrocketed and now at staggering 16% and inflation at a relative high 7%. And now we're going through at least 10% worldwide, roughly. Need to live in 5 minutes. Doing something with my bro. Okay. Unemployment is increasing, crime and drug use. We need to get people off the street. The inflation isn't helping our average citizen either. GDP debt situation. Our current GDP is 310 billion Swedish rand and national debt is 427. We're on the negative. It's still hard to fathom we lost 150 billion in wealth. The past 3 years were tough. Status of the recession. The economy has been in recession about negative 6% in the past year. GDP has dropped from 15,454 per capita to 10,000. Catch you tomorrow through this series. Okay. This administration's success depends on our ability to stop the recession. The sooner we can reach GDP growth, the better. I have all the information we need. Let's move on to economic strategy. Simon scattered the paper stack in front of him in an orderly manner and took a final look at his notes before clearing his throat. As you can see, the situation is alarming, but not everything is negative. The extensive privatization program of Alfonso left us a large budget surplus we can use to... see? He helped us. We can use to stabilize the crisis. The primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we will take on in our term. Solonomics based on nationalization happened in the 30s and Alfonso's privatization began during the end of 40s. What will our administration be focused on? One of our main promises is to promote a planned economy to stop the recession. To be frank, I still don't think this was a good idea. We shouldn't go back to Solonomics. It is the reason of the recession. Self-sufficiency will help us in tough times. There's a plan. Simon ignored the statement. Economic system without regulation are bound to fail. What are the consequences of free market? The more economy we control, the better we can manage the recession. What are the downside of the planned economy? Yeah, economic recession system without regulation are bound to fail. Obviously, there is some regulation in all existing systems. Otherwise, it will be anarchy. Nobody wants a chaotic society. From taxes to standard of goods, there are many elements that regulate. Four is that it's not bad, but like I say, all of the choices are good, but like I feel like we should blatantly state out that free market is bad, because remember, this guy, he's a free market, he's full on free market. So I need to stress out to him. If we ask about the negative side, of course, but if I ask about the negative side of the planned economy, then it's gonna mean for them that we're not fully committed to it. Like right now we're in a briefing, because like they are asking us, they're giving their opinion, and we just made the decision. Okay, we're that's why we have ministers and all. From taxes to standard of good, there are many elements that regulate all aspects of the system. But is it enough? I doubt it. If we can manage to plan more aspects of the economy, our chances of success will increase with a talented team like ours. The structural problem of Solonomics were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time anyway. Either way, even if we pick one of the doctrines, we retain the option of to make economic choices on a case-by-case basis. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. This is, however, not recommended in my point of view. The last thing we need is a chaotic economic plan. Finally, something we can both agree on, Delius. There is another important point which has direct impact on our economy: superpowers. We have done well not aligning ourselves with any of them. Economically speaking, an isolationist policy overall could only work if we were to reap the benefits of both spheres and their library. This is very dangerous to attempt, but still possible. We must be very cautious. There are schemes being devised about Sordland. We cannot give in to their wants now or in the future. Otherwise, our country will be turned into a pawn. Yeah, so like in this case, this is why a reason for us to increase the military, okay? But not to the point that it's bothering us. Will not be controlled by any nation. Seoul was right along policies. I still haven't decided if they wish to come to a deal. I feel like this one, like number 1, is the best. Like, we will not be controlled by any nation. But 4 is like trying to be jinxing it up. Okay? Yeah, I think number 1 is the best. After taking a look. Precisely my point. We will stand strong and show an example to the world. I hope we won't regret this. Simon cleared his throat again. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Minister Whiskey will be in charge of informing you on those types of foreign policy decisions. We must first decide on our eternal economic plan. I hope to be like Lula, where he, before this, when he was the president, and now he's going to be a president again, that he's able to balance America and China properly. So I want to be like that. Let's log off. I have a great night. Okay, investing moderately in a loss, a tiny bit to military. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Okay, don't worry. I'll end the stream after I make this decision. Simon put forward a legal document outlining the possibility with both economic doctrines listed. The cabinet members look at me. We had to thank Saul. Out. Let's finish. Alfonso started with capitalist free market reforms. We are a planned economy. Would a planned economy focus bring stronger allies? That's what we promised anyway. It will make United Cortana diplomatically look at our country in a more positive light. They are proponents of planned economy. The influence of Arcasia has on the economy is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on internal reasoning though. What's on our long-term economic schedule? Making a construction company, trade relations, tax reform, and welfare privatization and nationalization initiative would be some of them. You must choose wisely and remember that the free market economy in all forms is the future of the world. I wouldn't be so sure. Okay, let's move on. What are your final thoughts, Mr. President? Critical institutions must remain in state control. They must be fully responsible in delivering services. Yes. So, like for example, this one's like for example, the utilities, okay, and the power companies should be in the state control. We should look at opportunities to like privatization to create financial resources. A market economy doesn't require as much guidance and could help us attract foreign capital. It is hard to fully agree or disagree with these options. Okay, we're just gonna go for number one. Okay, I don't want my utility to be controlled by other nations. Okay, or like companies. Number one. Fully be responsible in delivering services. Few could be, and it wouldn't be negative, but either way, you make the choices. So what will be our general economic plan promote? Plan economy as we promised. Not sure if we made the right decision there. Gus looked worried. Not now that there is a clarity on which direction we are heading. I will work on a good plan accordingly. This concludes our meeting. Our next gathering we will talk about the upcoming infrastructure investment plan. Now that the economic direction was taken, the minister dispersed for lunch at the Maroon Palace. Okay, so we'll continue this tomorrow, okay? Like I say, this is pretty hefty and we're still in chapter 1. We did go through the prologue and, you know, maybe half of chapter 1, and it was already like 2.5 hours. So yeah, well, I'll continue this tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of reading. So that's it for Suzerain for now, and wonder what's gonna happen tomorrow. So that's it for today. That's it for now. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.